Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe. Today's video is going to show you exactly what the 360-degree camera that was filming the Losi building can see. It's also going to go over, how the marks were made as Tyler Robinson was exiting the roof. Now, people wonder why I say it's Tyler Robinson. Well, because on that 360-degree camera, they filmed Tyler Robinson jump off the roof, run to the woods, and that's where he disappeared. So law enforcement went into the woods and retrieved the same items that Tyler Robinson was carrying after he jumped off the roof that he had with him. And that would be the black towel and the rifle. They found the rifle in there, and Tyler Robinson's DNA was on the trigger. The surveillance footage that they looked backwards at showed Tyler Robinson entering into a tunnel, which is right here, and that's right around 11:53. And that image was put out to the public, one of the ones going up the stairs into the parking garage right here. And then he ends up coming out right there. And his parents were able to identify him as being Tyler Robinson. So they watch the same person walk this direction, go into the Losi building, and then eventually come up the stairs at 12:15, and then go over this wall right here at 12:17, and then 5 minutes later runs across the roof and fires from right here, hitting Charlie Kirk in the neck, and then he gets up, runs, goes this direction, and goes right to this corner here, lets himself down and jumps. Now, it turns out this wall is right around 10 feet tall where he jumped from. The wall itself, I think, is 16 feet high, but he jumped from right here. It might be a little bit over 10 feet. Let's show you where this footage is from, right here. So see that, that little point sticking out? That's an actual camera. And just, again, for the people who haven't seen videos on this, if you go down to Street View right here and you look up in the air, that one shot doesn't work very good. If you go right here where there's no sun, there you go, you can see it. It's right on the corner of that building. And here is that building right here, and that's where the shot was taken from. All right, and then we see in the video that the FBI put out, you see Tyler Robinson running across the roof back here and then climbs down right there. And here's what it would really look like. So you can see I'm in that position with my 360-degree Insta360 X5, and this is what you'd be able to see. So they'd be able to see this entire roof here. That's the common area where people can come up these stairs and walk this direction. You could also be in this building and come out and go that way. There's stairs right here. Okay, so let's take a look at the stairs again. They're right there. And these are the stairs that lead up to the roof by going into the Losi building and then out the door. You could come from over here if you wanted to. But you go up the stairs onto the roof. You can see it right there. And on the video, you're going to see exactly what they described in the probable cause document. They're going to see him coming up here, and he's still going to have a little limping gait. And then he makes his way over here, climbs over, and that's at 12:17. And then you'll see him running across here at 12:22, and then makes his way right to the corner and kind of shifts over a little bit, and then fires at Charlie Kirk. And exactly the time that Charlie Kirk was shot, you're going to see him stand up, run this direction, and then we've seen in the video where he climbs down over here, jumps down, runs across over here, and then goes across the street. We only see it to right there, but they're going to have him going across the street, and then they won't see him continue this direction, so they realize that he went into this wooded area here, and that's how they were able to go into the woods. And then they found the towel in there, wrapped around the rifle, and they then probably let the dogs scent on that towel and then tracked him back to behind the the dirt area that we see in the original surveillance footage that was released by TMZ. Law enforcement has the same surveillance footage. TMZ just acquired their own copy of it. Much like yesterday when I went and got the surveillance footage from the early morning shots at 9:57 and 8:23, heading into the neighborhood where you see his car driving. I could have put my watermark on it, but I didn't do that. You know, that's just the same thing that TMZ did. Law enforcement has that same footage, however. So as you can see, there's just a huge amount that camera will be able to follow and track. It's interesting, you can even see over here the parking lot that leads to the tunnel, but I think that's too blurry to get a good shot of. All right, so let's now move on to the marks that were on the roof. So here is the surveillance footage released by the FBI. As you can actually see Tyler Robinson right there. The video, it starts even a little further back. So if you zoom in right here, there he is running, and the shooting position is right over there in the corner. So it's right, he's right there. I think the shooting actually took place at 12:23 and like 24 seconds. He runs by right there. It's 12:23:34, and it could even be a little later, like 12:23:28, something like that. Doesn't take that long to run from there to here. So here we go. I'm going to kind of just zoom in and out. You'll see him running, his feet back there. You see that? And he makes his way to the corner. And law enforcement has the 360 so they can pan over and follow it. See, like that. So here we are in this position right here. He's just getting off the roof. And then there's his left foot. And I think that's what created this kind of scuff that goes sideways right here, or even right there. See, right on the edge? Like he's putting his foot down right on the edge of the little part that sticks out there. Okay? And then his knee maybe hits that little spot right there. And then his right foot drags right there. And then the black towel, as he's pulling it off, makes that mark. And then, you know, again, from kind of more zoomed in, you can see it right here. His right foot drags right there, pulls that off right there, makes that mark. And then his hand comes down, and then boom, as he jumps, it slides across and pulls those 4 fingers across. Probably, you know, obviously it's not his thumbs, it's the other 4 fingers. Pinky, index, ring finger, and middle finger. And there again, you can see him holding the rifle, elongated item, wrapped in a black towel. So here we go. That's his left foot. And let me zoom in on that. See that? There's that mark that goes that way. That seems like that occurred differently than this one. So that's why I think this portion might be his foot. See how it's right? There's this little scuffing going on right on the edge there. And just like that one has. So that's his foot. I think that's his right foot later. And this is his left foot as he's letting himself down. And then this part right here is in the same location, but I think is the black towel. So let's just watch that again. So there's maybe the knee just barely hit that spot right there. Just momentarily. And then he steps down. And then right there, see that how that foot is dragging across? And these are all in the right areas too. I think that's what created this spot. You know, I mean, I guess it's also possible that this is this one. You know, that's just the thing. It appears, however, that his foot came there, and then we've also got 2 different marks in that location. See right there, as he's pulling off the black towel. If I back it up a little bit, the black towel and the rifle, and that looks to be right in that spot. Pulls it down, and then if you look carefully, right here, his left hand is still up on the roof area. But then right there, it drops down to the flashing that sticks out, and he just stays there momentarily, and then right as he's about to jump, his hand's on there, and then boom, it makes the 4 marks as he jumps down. and then his glasses fall off and he starts running to the wooded area. All right. So in the comments section, let me know what you guys think. That's just how I have it. I didn't put the... There's two of them that are just kind of little nicks. I'm just guessing at what those are, but I'm fairly certain of the foot, right leg, dragging it off, the foot coming off. The 4 fingerprints, you can see exactly where that is, and it absolutely lines up with the 360-degree video. And here is my second attempt filming up on the roof, where you can see the handprints. It's not as clear because of the shadows, but you can see those are the 4 fingers being pulled off. And if you look carefully here, even from that position, it's not as clear, but those are the 4. And notice how it's right above the dividing line between this window and that one. See that? So it's straight above, right above that. Now let's go back to the surveillance shot and back it up to in here. Now let's watch right where his left hand is, just before that. And look where the window is. I guess we're going to have to go out to a wider shot right there. See that? See, that's where his hand is. It drops down, and look, if you extend this line up, it's right there. So that's exactly where his left hand is in that shot. And then everything else lines up too. If you look at, let's do one of the other spots. I'm going to go back to these. So right there, his right foot drags off. Now let's look where this window is. It appears to be just up from that and slightly to the right. Let's take a look at that. And so there's this. Let's see if I can go get some of that cement. Boom. I could go up like this. So there's that inner window. So if it goes up, it'd go to about to here and a little bit off to the right, and that's right here. All right. And this one is almost right on that mark. However, if you look back at the surveillance footage, it's quite a bit over to the right of that, and that matches that little scuff mark. The bigger mark matches the bag. So right here, see that? Right where he's dragging that off, you go straight up from that, and you're almost exactly on that mark right here. So if we were to go right there, yeah, I can see it right now. There's a line that I can follow up from the corner. See that right there? So it goes up, and then you would go across, and so that's just inside of that lower window, and that appears to be exactly what we see in here. Look, if you go straight up, it's right there. So I think it's pretty obvious that those are marks made by him, and there's no reason for them to clean it up. What would be the reason for them to wipe down the fingerprints up there? Maybe they need to go look at them again at some point. There's no reason to do that. They're just left there. They're just marks made in dust. All right, and I think you can even make out in another version that I have how you can see the palm print. And here is that footage right here. Look how clear this one is comparatively. And maybe right here in this area they got a palm print. There even seems to be a little something right there. Don't know. This might be the knee that we were talking about. You can see right here there's a different mark compared to that. And then right over here. Now I'm wondering if on here they may have detected, because I did read in, I think, one of the probable cause documents, the charging or the probable cause, that they were able to determine that it was the Chuck Taylor brand sneakers, the sole impressions they found. And I'm wondering if that's what they found up here on the roof. If maybe this look up here is them removing the prints. Don't know. I don't think his foot ever hit like that. There's also a possibility that when he jumped, he left prints. Maybe he left prints when he walked across over here with dirt on his feet. Or maybe somewhere else on the roof there are better prints. We don't know the answer of where they got that, but I mean, in this dust here would have been a really great place to have gotten those. All right, everybody. Well, that's all I've got for you on this video. Hope it helps explain what law enforcement is going to have on the surveillance footage. As it can see, about 260 degrees because there's just building behind it. So it can see that large a range of movements by Tyler Robinson, all the way up onto the roof, running into the woods, etc., and maybe an explanation of the sequencing of each of the marks on the roof. All right, so thank you all very much for watching. If you could hit that like button for me, I'd appreciate it. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.